Good morning again, folks. I'm just getting ready, getting my mind thinking towards this next week, which is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming. So much to be thankful for. Um, but anyway, as y'all know, last week I was going through my big box of recipes and trying to organize and sort and find my jello recipes that I normally make at Thanksgiving time. And there was a couple that I wanted to find of my mom. So far, I've found one of them. And I wanted to share that with you. She always made a fruit cake, which was not like your store bought or your original fruit cakes, but it was one we grew up with. So to me, that is my fruit cake. And I was just thinking the other day, I know that she didn't really have a certain recipe she used. During the year, she would make a poor man's cake, which had raisins in it. And I remember her many times at this time of year telling me that she would take that recipe and add her dried fruits, and I'll go through that with you here on the recipe. And she would make her own loaf fruitcake in bread pans. And it would be about so high. It would be more of a solid bread because she would put a lot extra in. It may crumble, but it was oh so good. And I'll never forget. And I'm hoping to try it soon to see if I can make it the same way because I loved it. And she knew I loved it. She would always wrap me up a couple in wax paper and send it home with me to enjoy from Thanksgiving on through Christmas because she knew that was something that I enjoyed. But her recipe is just a poor man's cake, and I don't know that you can see any of that, but this is her handwriting. And it's just her regular, it's brown sugar she has. She's got water and she's got shortening and raisins. And then she puts that in a kettle and boils that together. It says about 3 minutes. Then she'll add in the spices, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the cloves to make a moist cake. She will then add a large apple. She would peel it and cut it into small pieces if she had the apple. Or she would use a cup of applesauce, it says, maybe added. And then she's got after that cools a little bit, her soda, her salt, and 2 more teaspoons of water she has on there. And I'm not really sure, maybe just to thin her dough out a little bit, her batter. Then she's adds 2 cups of flour and a teaspoon of baking powder right there. So that makes just the regular poor man's cake that we would always eat. She would put it out on a flat sheet cake, cookie sheet pan, and she would frost that with just a frosting or a glaze, I should say, more of a glaze. And we ate that several times throughout the year. But then she would take that recipe this time of year for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then she would do what she's added on the bottom of this recipe card. This is her original, folks. This is her original handwritten. Yeah, and you should have seen me when I found it, so we won't go there. But here's the little part that made my day, because this right here told me how she took this cake batter and turned it into our holiday fruit cake. So she says, I use this to make fruit cake. Add mashed nuts, and I think it was usually walnuts that we had, maraschino cherries, and I'm sure she cut those in half, and green, she said. And I actually bought both of those yesterday. She would buy the green pineapple and cut it up. She didn't like to buy the candied cherries. I know she would buy the regular maraschino cherry jars and use those. And so then she did get the pineapple candied, and use those. And then also she's got cut up dates to your taste. And so with this added with the raisins, the apple, and walnuts, cherries and pineapple. She would make a thick batter and spread it in her bread pan, and she would make it so they would bake about so high. They wouldn't be very high, but it was perfect to slice it and have a piece of that fruitcake. So I'm definitely going to be doing this recipe in the next couple days. I'm not sure when yet, but hopefully I can do a video for you of that. But this was one very, very special recipe, all handwritten. This was the main one she used, and this was the little part that really meant a lot. It told me how she does her poor man's cake and turns it into a fruit cake. So I was pretty excited about that one. And I'm going to get a couple of plastic covers, and this one's going to probably stay up here in my cupboard somewhere. Another one that, while I was looking through the very little package of her original recipes that I do own, this was another one, and I remember the cookie well. It's an old-fashioned sugar wafer cookie. And it was just, and I think this is the one where she would, oh no, this one's frost with cream sugar frosting. So it was more of a sugar cookie rollout. But I was just reading through it, not really remembering the cookie, I guess. And right through the center, here's the ingredients up here, like always. This line right through here is what caught my attention. Down here are the directions. But this line right through this recipe says, use this recipe all our married life. So there is another treasured, handwritten cookie recipe from my mom. My mom's been gone 3 years now, so it's still pretty new. But, wow. This is what you call a treasure, folks. Very much a treasure. And I remember her using these recipe cards even. I think she had bought them from a current catalog through the mail. And they were so cute. So these alone, whether I ever make either recipe, which I definitely will be, these are treasures. Treasures that showed up in my care, my hands, that I didn't really realize were there until just this week. So if you've got a mama that does a lot of cooking, hand cooking, has a lot of recipes, or a grandma that you treasure, I highly suggest either, I wish I'd have done a whole lot more of that myself when my mom was still here. Get some photocopies, if nothing else, of that handwritten recipe. Take time to read through her recipe box and look. And that just gives me more of a desire, I guess, to take some of my handwritten recipes and write a little note, whether it's one line, onto that paper and tuck it into that messy recipe box that maybe somewhere down the road, down the line, after I'm gone, whoever gets a hold of that box of recipes, maybe it will be a treasure for them. Maybe they'll go through it and read them and look at each handwritten one. I think I need to be a little more neat, maybe from here on out, on my recipe cards. A lot of times I will tear out a piece of paper, I'll jot it down, something off of the Pinterest, just to get it real quick. But I think that is one thing that would make a real good treasure down the road for somebody, whether it's your daughter, your granddaughter, your daughter-in-law, whoever gets your recipes after you're gone. Somebody may treasure them, somebody may not. They may get tossed before anybody really cares. But I think it's a good thing to take time and write out just even a little line on our recipe, like my mom did. Use this all my married life. Wow. That's pretty cool. So maybe you could say this certain grandkid loved this cookie, or this was one of my daughter's favorites, or this is my mom's and I've changed the recipe just a little bit to our liking. But it would be fun to have a treasure like that. And maybe eventually something like this will go into a cookbook that I can get thrown together. I don't know. That's my dream, my hope. But I've got a lot of work before that even really past a dream. It's a thought. It's a little thought in my head. So anyway, take this time to think back and enjoy some of those handmade treats and goodies that were put on the table when you went to visit grandma or mom. Think of all those homemade things that it takes time to make and the skill that it takes to learn. Like if it's a bread dough, it's a skill. It's not something you can throw together and, unless you've done bread quite a few times, you need to know your temperature to the touch of your water, your milk. You need to know, what it should feel like when you're kneading it or let it rise. So there's a knack to it. So I really encourage a lot of you, if you've got somebody that you can step in and learn some of these things, I would definitely do it. Take your kids, learn to do some of the old ways. Once the generation is gone, it's hard to get that knowledge back. And there is so much knowledge. Yes, I'm only getting to be 58, and my cowboy's going to be 70. We are getting to be the older generations. There's still lots of them in the 80s and 90s. And there's lots you can learn from them if they can sit and tell you. Listen to their stories. Listen to their stories. Soak them in. There's times I wish now. I used to sit and listen to my grandpa a lot. Him and I spent a lot of time together. And we talked a lot. And he would tell me a lot of the old ways. He would show me the old ways, the antiques. He would take me to the auctions and we would buy the old utensils, the old cupboards, the old chairs, the old lamps, the old beds. He would always bring the old ways into my life. And it's him I have to thank for that. And my mom and dad always had the same stuff. But that was what they were living in the moment. And I think my grandpa was at the point of his age where he's like, this needs to be handed down to somebody. It needs to be taught. Because he knew he was getting closer, getting older. And I think that's why he spent so much time teaching me and showing me too. I wasn't going to do this. Hold on. But it's little things like that I'm thankful for and that I think back on. It's the simpler way of life. It's a good way of life. Less stress. And I think holidays get so commercialized anymore. They really do. And what's more important, really, is families getting together. And I'm just going to touch real quick on that, if I can. Years past, I did get divorced from my kids' dad. And yes, it's very hurtful for the kids. It destroys the family. I've been trying since then to gain trust back from a couple, and it's very hard. It's a struggle. So holiday time probably is the hardest. I have one daughter that comes home whenever she can. And actually, the other one is coming Monday, which I'm very excited for. I've lost my son because of everything. And I know there's a lot more in this position like I'm in. And all I can say is the only way a mama can get through it is through prayer. Stay close to your Lord. Pray at his feet. First off, beg for forgiveness. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And the good Lord will forgive us. He'll guide us. As long as we keep asking, he will be there. So anyway, where I'm going with this is family at Thanksgiving and Christmas is a very important time. So if you've got family, treasure that. Don't make it a hard thing of thinking, oh, I've got all this food to cook. I've got all this. I've got to get this house cleaned. That's not it. Those kids, if they come home, be very thankful. Teach them some of these old ways. Treasure it from day to day, because we don't know what we've got left on this earth for time. We don't know our health. So we've always got good close friends that get us through, and they're just like family, but you never lose that in your heart. You keep praying, you keep asking the Lord to help, to heal, to take those hurts and heal them and turn it into something good before it's too late. Help them realize that mamas make dumb mistakes. Mamas, although I should step back. I did need to make the move I had to make for my reasons, and the good Lord has blessed me with my cowboy. I would not be able to survive without my cowboy. So I'm very thankful for him, for the good Lord giving him to me. And he's good to the kids. He loves his grandkids. He's got kids, and I love them kids and their grandkids. We don't always get to see each other. And that's a lot because we were both divorced. It was a split home on both families. And that and a death and holiday times are tough. And I think there's a lot of you out there can agree with that. But you just, like I said, give it to the good Lord. He lifts us up. He's going to help us. He's going to give us the strength we need. He helps us make new memories, new traditions. You don't have to forget the old ones. Like my kids when they were little, I don't have to forget those. They can't take those from me. I can remember those forever and ever. I can still see pictures in my mind. Yes, I've definitely missed out on their adult age growing up and their families. Not my choice. But I have to deal with that because that's their choice. So, anyway, thankful. I am very thankful. There's always things you can look at and think are, why and how, and it's not good, but there is so much more to be thankful for. Like finding these old recipes years later. And there's lots of new memories, lots of new treasures, traditions, I want to say, to make. And there's a lot of the old ones to just keep going with. And there's new folks that come into your life that you treasure just like family. And you all know who you are. So this kind of turned into more of a from the heart chat. Wasn't where I was going to go with it, but my recipe cards I wanted to share, and I was having another cup of coffee, and I just wanted to pop on and just chat. So, folks, if holidays are a struggle for you, you're not alone. Just do not lose touch with the good Lord above, because he is the only one that can see your heart and know what's going on. And stress is stress is a killer. You do not want stress. He is the only one that can take the burden from you and relieve it and make it so you can handle it and you can deal with it. He is the only one that can do that. And if you stay close to him, and I sit at his feet, I picture myself sitting at his feet all the time and praying and talking and sobbing and thanking and praising. And it's not just the one day a week or one day a year, Thanksgiving. It's not. It's every day. And when I wake up at the night, it's what I do. If I'm out walking around, I'm thanking him. I'm praising him. I pray for all of my kids every day, all of my little grandkids. They're growing up so fast, and this is a crazy old world, and so I pray. That's all I can do as a mama, as a grandma, as a nana, is pray. And someday, miracles happen. Things can change, but it's got to be in God's hands. So have a great Thanksgiving this next week. Enjoy from here on till Thanksgiving, whether you're trying to get your house ready for company and the meals prepared. Don't overstress. Take each thing. So what if you've got a little dirty floor, a mess in the corner of the kitchen or whatever? You know, it's not the important things. It's not the important things. It's if you've got family and friends to share your time with, or just your spouse, your partner. It's important. And that's what is very important in life. So I'm going to go ahead, finish my cup, put another log on the fire. I want to thank you for joining me and having this little chat and giving me the chance to talk about my recipes and my little, I guess, pain. A little pain. But I'm happy. I'm thankful. I love my Lord Jesus. I love all my kids, my grandkids, my husband, my cowboy, our good friends. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for getting up every morning, being able to walk, because there's been many times I couldn't even walk with my my conditions, my health, blood clots and whatever. That's a whole nother thing. But so when I can walk without pain, I'm pretty excited. I have twisted hands a lot of times from arthritis, but that's okay. I can still get up. I can do what I need to do. And right now, I'm excited because I do have a daughter coming Monday. She's still giving me a good chance. It lets me see the kids, and that's great. It's so much fun. So much fun to see them. And the others will be coming, the other daughter and family will be coming in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I look forward to that. I haven't heard on any of the other kids yet. Oh, actually, some from Washington, I believe we might possibly get to see about the same time. So God is good. Just praise him and thank him for what we do have, and don't take it for granted. I love you guys. Thanks for joining us, Prairie Girl and Cowboy Homestead. Take care.